Welcome back to the Denver Athletic Club. The WPH Race for 8 is on live as we have the men's round of 8 action here. Vic Perez up against Sean Lenning. My name is Dave Vincent. Do appreciate the fact that you've tuned in here today to this live broadcast. Great matches already today. In fact, we've had some really good close ones. We've had some blowouts. Luis Moreno's match up against Aaron Gardner was a quick one, but it just shows you how good these elite players are. Now Sean Lenning exiting the court as the referee is trying to get this one underway. Referee will be Shorty Ruiz as he is going to manage this court here. Vic Perez up against Sean Lenning. Vic originally from the East Coast, now living in Riverside, California. And Sean Lenning, Seattle, Washington, actually in a little suburb called Shoreline. As we get ready for this announcement from Shorty. Joining me in the booth here is Dave Fink. Dave, doing that announcement time here with the referees and the players, getting everything situated. For a while there on the Race for 8 tour, we had a coin flip.
I missed that.
And then now it's back to the writing the numbers 1 or 2 on a piece of paper. You seem to think that the coin flip is more accurate because 1 and 2 brings in.
Well, 1 and 2 is kind of like playing rock, paper, scissors. There's some skill to it. And, you know, I know Sean Lenning's the type of guy that feels like he can read the referee and what he would write down. And that's why Sean actually advocates the coin flip.
And, well, you see he's up there serving first. 0 serve 0. And that's another discussion I'd like to have with you. That if Sean Lenning wins that serve, he can technically say he wants to not serve and he wants to defer, but does that mean that he gets to, that was wicked, does that mean that he gets to serve second after the halftime?
No, it would be like deferring in the first half of the kickoff in football. You then would get the kickoff in the second half. And Sean Lenning opens this match with 2 amazing left-handed rollouts, falling back from behind the restraining line.
Well, Sean said to me earlier today that he feels that he could win the Players' Championship. He said he just needs to lose 10 pounds and get a little bit more focus. You see him wearing that yellow jersey, and this is the Sean Lenning that even Luis Moreno doesn't like to play.
Well, I talked to Sean, Dave, asked him, what he's been up to. He's still out there on the Oregon coast, hasn't touched a handball since Alaska. Before Alaska, he didn't touch a handball
since Houston.
And before that, it was another 3 months. I mean, this guy is absolutely amazing. And you almost count him out thinking, well, this is, for once, a chance to take out Sean Lenning, but the layoffs just don't seem to affect him.
That's an underhanded punch fist that Sean leaves about 1 inch high on the front wall.
Dave, you talk to guys from the Pacific Northwest, and they've got some good players up there, but I can remember talking to Jay Balkenbush, who's a former pro. And he said, Sean used to come to these tournaments and just beat everybody 21-1 every game. Now he comes here and just, sort of messes around. He still wins. But that's the new Sean Lenning. He doesn't care if you get 20 points because he's going to win. I mean, Chip Morales, Dave, scored 20 in their opening round match today. Sean isn't out there to really put a 1 or 0 on you. He's going to conserve his energy, and Vic Perez is just completely overwhelmed now. This is a completely different element, a level of play that, Dave, I don't think Vic has seen, and that's a terrible bounce. But I don't think Vic has played a guy at this level in about a year, Dave, because he qualified in Tucson where he lost badly to Emmett. I'm not sure Emmett is quite there with Sean Lenning yet, but that's been his only stop this year, so hasn't played a top guy, Dave, since I believe Salt Lake City or the LAAC. And it's different, Dave, when you get in there against a guy in the really top level of this sport, the top 4, top 3. It's not the same as playing a tough qualifier. Sean credits that amazing left hand, Dave, to those years that he battled with that shoulder injury with his right hand. He said, I just had to play left-handed. That's all I could do. I mean, you saw him down there at the Tucson Racket Club, Dave. He'd be in there playing doubles or 2-on-1 against guys with just his left hand. Wouldn't even be using a right glove. and he was still by far the best player on the court.
Well, he said to me that during the time of having that shoulder problem that he had with the cyst in between the bone and I guess a muscle there, he said that it was actually a good thing for him. He said it gave me more confidence with my left hand. And he said, I feel like my left is better now because of it. So in a way, even though it can spring up at any moment, and Sean, of course, doesn't want to have that injury, it's kind of a good thing for him because you see him with his left hand now make some shots that were just, really unbelievable shots. And he's pulling them out all the time. Doesn't matter where he's at on the court.
Well, Dave, I can remember talking to Noddy in 2007 at the U.S. Open, which was the first time that Sean Lenning had ever beat Noddy 21-5, 21-20, as I know you remember those scores. But Noddy said, all I had to do was keep it to his left. He has no left. And you can't say that anymore about Sean Lenning.
No.
6 years later, the guy's got an amazing left hand, maybe right up there with Alan Garner.
Well, we saw, I agree with you. And we saw what Sean did to Dave Chapman with just a left hand when he took him to a tiebreaker at the U.S. Open in the semifinals.
Incredible match there.
And that was Sean Lenning playing Dave Chapman with just one arm.
Yeah. And I can remember Dave telling me after that match, this guy's just making unbelievable shots. What can I do? I can't defend against these shots. And that's Dave Chapman saying that, a guy who knows what you're going to do 5 shots ahead of when you actually do it. Terrible serve there from Sean. I guess you call that a good timeout from Vic. And maybe, Dave, it's time to do another study of points won after a timeout, rallies won by the guy who called the timeout. I don't have a workstation here, though, unfortunately. It's frustrating.
You better not move left or right because you're going to get in trouble by me.
Yeah, I know. Can't even go out and get my notes.
Well, you're going to be sitting with a new broadcast partner for the next match. Just want to make the announcement. I will be playing Jeff Wall on the Senior Tour. Not looking forward to it.
And then I believe you'll play again tonight against John Bike if you win that. Is that right?
I hope not.
So you don't like money then? You don't like to donate to the junior WPH
I donate
fund.
all my money back to the WPH.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of it.
Yeah.
What that's led me to do is play more relaxed because I know it's not my money.
Well, it's actually hurt me because I don't get as many meals paid for as I used to. Only about 3 a day now from you, which is not enough, as you know, for me. Sean Lenning wearing his yellow jersey, Dave. He's won a number of WPH events, most recently race stop number 2 in the Race for 8-2 season in Tucson.
Sean's in control here, Dave.
Amazing shot.
Even though he was on the ground twice there, he paddled one ball up. He was still in control because he knew that the only shot that Vic had was right back to the middle of the court.
But talk about that shot, Dave. He just hit with his left hand. He made it look so easy. The ball's coming into him. And Dave, I think a lot of people gave Vic a pretty good chance to win this match, considering Sean's preparation coming in here and also how he looked against Chip Morales. But Sean Lenning just looks like the guy that has been the first or second best American player in the last 7 years.
Sean makes a terrible mishit there.
Dave, I was talking to a guy that spars with Vic Perez from time to time in Southern California, Shorty Ruiz, who's our ref here today. And I said, what's the deal with Vic? He just seems so calm and relaxed in there. I don't even know if he's cares if he wins or loses. That's an unbelievable shot there. And he said, he just plays to play. And I think there's a lot of good to that, Dave. He just loves to play. And that's to be admired, I believe.
Well, if you can just play to play and then still be one of the guys that's bubbling on that, Elite 8 part, what better life could that be? I think it's sometimes more pressure for a guy like you, Dave, who's got more of a bullseye on your back. And I know nobody in the world will know this besides you and myself, but because you are a commentator, these players feel that you're going to be going back to the live broadcast and bad-mouthing them. Look at that shot from Sean Lenning. What was that?
This has been 5-minute highlight reel.
But you see the players go back and they want to make sure that they should give you a little bit more because they know that you're going to say something about their game. And I think you get played, and myself get played harder.
That's frustrating.
Because of the position that we're in. I almost sometimes wish we can just change our names.
Yeah.
And that had nothing to do with what I was talking about. I mean, I wish we could change our names.
I'm glad you told me that, but I've always been paranoid that everyone plays better against me than what I watch, and now I know it's true.
Well, it definitely happens. I know that when I go up against some guys, even in local practices, they think that I'm going to somehow remarkably bring up their name in a live broadcast maybe a month or two later.
Yeah.
When I'm not going to.
Yeah.
And they go out there and play lights like the hardest they've ever played in their life because they feel like they need to impress me. And I know that that's the way they play against you, and it's very difficult. So you're getting everybody's A game every tournament you go to because of the position you're in.
Good thing I don't also write the articles.
Well, that took a little pressure off of you.
Yeah. And Dave, is this as easy for Sean as he makes it look? I mean, this is just unbelievable.
Well, there's nothing worse than playing Sean while he's doing this because that's a short ball. Now
I thought it was good.
I mean, when he's in the middle of doing this sort of thing to you, it makes it even more difficult.
Dave, I believe we will see our best quarterfinal match of the day coming up after this one, and I'm going to actually guarantee that.
Okay, you're going to guarantee
I'm going to guarantee that we're going to see our closest quarterfinal match and most exciting and longest when Emmett Peugeot takes on Charlie Shanks. So you can mark that down. That was 3 things. Close.
Okay.
Longest. What was the third? I don't have my notes because I'm not allowed to walk.
Because you can't write anything down here. The closest, the longest,
and the best.
And most entertaining, you said?
I didn't say entertaining, but that would be another one.
Okay, so there's 4 things then.
Well, I didn't say that initially, so I'm not going to count it. I'd like to rewind.
Sean looks like he dislocates his knee when he takes that ball around the revolving door. And look at that.
That's amazing.
Off balance punch fist. How many fist shots in a row is Sean going to hit? And then he goes for that little slap corner kill. Vic throws his hands up. Sean is pushing Vic left to right, front and back. And when Sean should be going for offense, he goes for defense, and then he does the opposite. I mean, I don't know how you could read this guy. He was living in Tucson for about 3 years. I played him for 50 bags of sand.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it looks bad for an executive director to say. I played him for 50
bucks. So you
bucks.
were playing for bags of sand.
Bags of sand.
Yeah,
Okay.
So bags of sand.
Bags of sand. He had flip-flops on. And he said, originally he said, let me just play you with, 25 bags.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. And as we go into halftime here, we have that 3-minute break. Hopefully this story doesn't last that long.
I think it might. That's the problem.
Oddly enough, I see that you took your headphones off and you're walking away. So it's just me telling the story now.
Yeah.
So he wants to play, for bags of sand, and he has his flip-flops on. And, of course, he beats me. But it was close, maybe 18, 19 points going to 21.
Okay.
At this point, he's fully clothed and just has his shoes on.
Yeah.
And I get 19. He said, here's what I'll do. I'll take my shoes off and I'll put my flip-flops on. Now, this is the flip-flops that are like, the
tongs.
tongs.
We call those tongs.
Yeah, okay, so there's no way. I know that as soon as I push him forward and he has to turn around and run back, I know for a fact that he's not going to get that ball back, right?
Right.
So, or the shoes are going to come off.
Yeah.
And I say if the shoe falls off, it stays on the court where it's at.
Yeah.
And you have to run back and get it before the next shot. And so he agrees.
And wear it.
Yeah, and wear it. And so we're in the middle of a rally. It falls off. I hit the ball into the deep court. He runs over. He just takes his foot and slides it right in like he's done it his whole life. Runs back, dives, and does a punch kill. He ends up beating me 21-0. We're going to take a break.
Fortunately for you, it wasn't your first 21-0
No,
loss.
it's happened many times.
Yeah.
But he got the 50 bags. I actually went to his house because he lives down the street from where you and I live. And he went down and actually delivered with a wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
Bags of sand right on the doorstep.
Wow.
That's a good dude.
Yeah.
And this was really, really sand. Now, the bags, I cut them open with a knife. I didn't say that it had to be delivered.
Yeah. And then you actually use that for landscaping. It looks good in front of your house.
Well,
I don't know if you have any pictures of that, but it is designed nicely. It stands out. You know, I think you even put a palm tree in there.
Well, it's nice.
Yeah,
And
no,
that's what
it
you
is
do
nice.
in Arizona. Your landscaping requires having gravel and sand. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a bit. The conclusion of game number one, or I should say the second half of this game number one game match of 25 between Lenning and Perez will be coming up right around the corner. We'll be back in about 1 minute or so. Stick with us for Fink DV. We'll be back. Stay here.
It's Timothy Green's first day at school.
What's in there? He's about to fall over.
Anything he might need. There's a box of tissues on the bottom and some Band-Aids. There's a whole first aid kit, actually.
Mom, I can handle it from here.
You don't have to be perfect
Have a great day.
That's too much pressure.
Have the day you have.
to be a perfect parent.
There are two people in the world who want you more than anything. They'll make some mistakes, but they will love you more than you can ever imagine.
There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
Or it'll all happen on accident. Because both players are just wandering around the court as the referee asked them if they're ready. Both players are ready. This is the race for 8.
And Sean finally misses that shot. Most guys, Dave, that ball would have just died right in front of him, but Sean read the crack perfectly there, slid in and had a good look at the re-kill. Overhand fist winner fly kill from Sean Lenning with his left hand. Have we ever even uttered those words in the same sentence before?
Was it a fist?
Yes, overhand, tomahawk out of the air, cross court, kept it off the back wall.
Well, it's one thing that Sean does do that I have not really seen anybody else even attempt is that when he hits a fist shot, he'll actually sometimes come in and top the ball. You see a lot of other players will just hit a fist shot. He actually goes over and punches over the top, which gets that forward spin. When he hits the front wall, it flattens. So if he's doing that, that's also him saying, I'm trying to flatten this ball out as if to kill it like a mouse. So he's actually going for it. That's what makes it more crazy. I mean, do you get the sense that Sean Lenning, if he put it all together, is just really one of the best players to ever live? Or is this just a novelty act?
Well, I don't think you can call it a novelty. The guy's been at the top of the sport for 10 years, and he's only 26 or 27 years old. I mean, he qualified at 16. He's been in the top 8 for at least 6 years, in the top 3 for about 4 years. So I'm not so sure what you're even asking. But Dave, I think if you measure Sean against the absolute best in this sport, and that's Paul Brady, he's lost to Paul Brady 11-10 in the finals of the U.S. Open in a match I think he should have won. And then he lost to him recently 11-9. Now, we haven't seen anyone push Paul Brady like that besides Sean Lenning in 8-9 years since Dave Chapman in his prime. I mean, we saw Luis Moreno actually beat Paul Brady one time, which was amazing and almost took a game off him. But I feel like, Dave, Paul Brady at the top of his game is still troubled by Sean Lenning. I'm not sure I can say that about anybody else.
That's true.
Although I think I can say it now about Luis Moreno. The now Luis Moreno would give Paul Brady a lot of trouble. But, you know, maybe we won't see that. Paul Brady doesn't come to these events. He will be invited to Seattle, Dave, to the Players' Championship, despite only playing in one event. He played in the U.S. Open, which was double points, picked up 20 points for that win, and that is enough to get him into the field in Seattle. He would be about a 7 or 8 seed there, which means he could play Luis Moreno in the first round, or Sean Lenning. I know, Dave, you're in contact with him about as much as anyone. I'm sure that we're not going to see him there, though.
Well, never say never. Paul Brady did promise that he would play in a WPH event before the year ended. And you know what happens when you break promises with DV?
He shows up at your house with a sword?
Cutlery. I think you found that out.
Yeah.
Back in the days when you and I used to put on the headsets and not talk afterwards.
We actually decided to do such a complete 180
that we moved into my same neighborhood.
Yeah. I got the closest possible house, which
that was for rent.
Yeah.
That's a true statement, too.
Yeah. I'm sure that all of your 25,223 Facebook friends are going to enjoy all the pictures of our barbecues and war room sessions and brainstorming sessions. I mean, I can just imagine how many of those are posted a day.
I'll be eating chicken wings and gravy, and you'll be having dietary food, granola bars, and nice shot right there from Vic Perez.
But yet somehow you'll still score 20 off me in a match to 25.
Well, that's what happens.
Yeah. Just kind of have my number.
I go into the court with an agenda. Look at Sean. He faked that previous shot and then comes back with a power drive.
Dave, we see Shorty Ruiz refereeing every match. 4 of our top referees, Dave, are at another facility where they are playing in the 9 through 12 playoffs. That includes Abraham Montijo, who's one of our best refs, Anthony Celesto, who's our lead ref, John Iglesias, and also Mike Schneider. And Dave, they went over to this other facility that was a big sponsor here of this event, and these guys said, hey, we want to see some pros over here at our club. So they're getting to see, you know, some of the top guys in this event, the guys that lost today in the quarterfinals. We don't have word yet of that match, of those matches, but we will see the finalists tomorrow, Dave, on the webcast, the ninth place final, and that'll be after the WPH Junior Clinic. So a big day tomorrow, Dave. It's a big day today also, and I know that it feels like we've webcasted about 30 matches already today, but we have about 30 more to go, I believe. I mean, you emailed me the schedule about 6 times today.
Well, I want to make sure that you're up to date, up to speed with your scheduling.
I know, I appreciate those emails.
Because I want you to see which matches you will be doing, or I should say not showing up to do.
Okay.
And so I just want to make sure it's known.
Okay. But so you don't want me to think that I'm actually having a free time when I'm out. Okay. Yeah. You want me to know that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
Okay.
So I think we got that straight.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sean Lenning here with the yellow jersey stepping back onto the court. He's really playing pretty dominant here, but do you think if he plays around a little too much with Vic Perez, going back and forth, Dave, that there's a good chance that he could maybe hurt himself in the next round?
No, I don't think so, because I think Sean Lenning can turn it on and turn it off when he needs to. Sean has different gears, and I can't drive a stick, but I think right now he's in about 2nd gear, and he knows if he needs 4th or 5th gear, he can crank it up. The only problem with Sean seems to be his mental state when he plays Luis Moreno. I don't really understand it. I think, Dave, he might need a sports psychologist. There's just no reason that he should lose so badly to Luis. Now, losing is one thing, but the manner in which he does lose is shocking. Time after time. I mean, he's lost to him 6 times in a row. Only one of those was a tiebreaker.
But can't you say the same about Luis and Alan and Sean?
Well, I mean, Luis and Alan is a close match that Alan usually wins. I mean, Alan beat him 25-22 when they played. And
but
when
they're all close matches.
No, not when Sean plays Luis. It's not close at all. I mean, you're talking about 25-8, 25-3. Last time they played, I think it was, Dave, 15-3, 15-4 in Alaska.
Look how Sean goes offensive. I mean, isn't that an amazing shot, Dave? You're a lefty.
Yeah.
And do you watch the creative shots from some of these right-handers that are fading away, and they've found some sort of paddle rhythm with their hand? I think they're sliding it like that right there. It's just such a strange shot to begin with.
Good
Nice
get there
pickup
from Vic.
Oh, good pickup from both, and then Sean goes behind the back and gets the point, and the crowd here just doesn't know what to think. That was an unbelievable shot from Sean Lenning. I mean, are you serious?
I mean, I'm looking at people, Dave, in the gallery just shaking their head.
Can we see a replay, maybe just 2 shots back? If we can, go back to the truck here as Sean Lenning takes down Vic Perez by the score of 25-8. He just so nonchalantly just did what I just saw him do. Dave, really unreal.
Yeah, it's hard to even really talk about.
He just walks off the court. Jake Plummer, you see Jake in the distance there as we look at this replay. There's that shot behind the back that we just missed.
And Vic has to be thinking, how's that ball coming back? I thought the point was over. You know, he's kind of casually walking back up to the server's box.
Watch here as we now go into forward play. Right here is fine. Go ahead and let it go forward.
And that's a pretty good shot from Sean there.
I actually like that shot.
Yeah.
Sean comes up here and digs it out, almost has to go down and leave his feet.
From Vic.
Sean just times it perfectly. Left hand, and Vic just can't get it. But he let that ball cross through his body first, and then he used the offhand. Unbelievable shot from Sean Lenning. We're coming back here to the booth really quick. We're going to take a break as we are going to get ready for that next round match, which you're saying Charlie Shanks and Emmett Pachot are going to be just lights out.
Well, Dave, they've had a pretty long rivalry. Emmett dominated the early part of their rivalry up until about last year actually, when Charlie beat him for the first time. Emmett wasn't really himself last year. But all the times, Dave, they did go tiebreaker. I can remember them playing at the Nationals and also the U.S. Open in 2008, Kansas City, and, of course, Lowe's Cabin. Great matches. Emmett winning both of those 11-7 in the tiebreaker. And, you know, their styles just match up so well that it always makes for an exciting match. Now, Emmett just blew Charlie Shanks away in Tucson this year, which was shocking because Charlie had just advanced to the finals of the U.S. Open. He comes to Tucson, you think riding high with a lot of confidence. Emmett looked terrible at the U.S. Open. I mean, he just played really poorly by his standards. And then he comes just 2 weeks later and just blows Charlie Shanks away. I mean, it's hard to imagine, but that's what can happen here. You know, Charlie maybe had a little bit of a letdown there, and Emmett maybe feeling like he had something to prove. But, you know, Dave, today, it's hard to say. I mean, Charlie Shanks coming off a great performance at the New York Athletic Club where he won for the second consecutive year last weekend. Now, that was with a different ball, which I think Charlie plays better with. Emmett, though, a little bit more rested, and you know, Charlie did say to me today, I just hate playing Emmett. He picks everything. He picks up everything. And that's what Emmett does. Very frustrating. And he did beat Charlie 25-10 in Tucson. So Charlie certainly will be seeking revenge. Emmett, though, is also hungry. He's now smelling that top 5, top 4. He's getting close to closing that gap. So it's going to be a great match, I predict.
Now you see Charlie Shanks' fiance Mary is here. And do you find it that he plays better when she's in the stands, or does he play a little bit better when she's away? And I'm not saying that as a slight at all to their relationship, but I noticed that there's guys like Alan Garner who seem to play a little bit better, Dave, when his wife Erica is in the stands. I know that you and your wife, probably a complete disaster when she's there.
Good person.
but you know, each player is different. Do you find their...
You know, Charlie's the type of person that keeps everything so internalized that I don't think he cares. You know, and I'm sure he loves having his fiance here. She's lovely and she's a wonderful girl. But I don't think it affects his play one way or the other. I think he's the type of guy that's just focused on what's going on in the court. And, you know, that's just the way he was raised. And the way these Irish guys, Dave, were raised is that, you know, you show no expression on the court. You don't yell. You don't celebrate. You know, you just play. And that's kind of what Charlie does. And, you know, most of the time, Dave, he's exceptional. And that's why he's ranked #1 right now. He's got one race win under his belt. He's been in the finals of the last 3 major tournaments, you know, the last 2 Nationals and the U.S. Open. So this is a guy, Dave, that is not a stranger to big matches. He does seem to play better in the biggest events. If in his mind it's a big event, he will raise his game. We'll have to see what he thinks about this event.
We're going to take a quick break here and give it about 30 minutes. I don't know what you can say about a guy. You know, we're talking about players being with their significant others, and if that affects them, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. What does it say about a player, Dave, as we go into this break here?
Yeah.
Like Charlie, who's stepping into the court 30 minutes before his match, and we see him routinely come in about an hour before his match to get ready. Is that over focus, or is that a guy that's worried about his round, or maybe he's trying to acclimate himself to the court? What do you find that to be?
Well, no, I don't think it is over focus. This is a guy that is very serious. He's got a routine that he goes through before every match. And you remember last year he didn't get a chance to fully warm up, and he was upset about that. He still had 10 to 15 minutes, which for most people is enough. But Charlie's a guy that he'll stretch leading up to an event for about leading up to a match for about a half an hour, then he'll be in the court for a half an hour, and that's just what he likes to do. Now, you remember Charlie won that event last weekend just 5 days ago with the 21 ball, which plays differently. He said, I'm having a hard time adjusting right now. And I know, Dave, that when I played a pickup match on Wednesday, which was a couple of days after that final in New York, I felt like I was hitting a brick because it's just a little bit heavier, and I really had to make that adjustment. Even yesterday, I sparred with one of the young superstars on the rise here, Anthony Sullivan, and I just felt like I couldn't catch up to this ball off the back wall. It was way out in front of me. Had to play again this morning. I played about 8 practice games before I played Andy Nett today just to get comfortable, and I finally did get comfortable. And Charlie Shanks did not hit the ball around yesterday. He didn't play throughout the week, and he's only had that one match against John Bike, so I think he feels a little unsettled with this ball.
We're going to take that break. We'll be back in 30 minutes for Charlie Shanks versus Emmett Peixote, round of 8 here at the WPH Race for 8 in Denver, Colorado at the DAC. It's also part of their Colorado State Handball Doubles Championships and Hall of Fame banquet. For Dave Fink, Linda Manning, Veronica Green, as well as Lolita DeVincent and Ashley Moeller. My name is Dave Vincent. Thanks for tuning in to this broadcast. We'll be back in just a bit here at racefor8.com. Stick with us.
My name is Bruce Fabrizio. In 1975, I invented Simple Green based on 3 principles. It had to be safer to use, it had to work, and it had to be completely made in America. From generation to generation, Simple Green has been cleaning everything from car engines and tools to kitchen counters and floors. No matter what you clean, indoors or outdoors, clean it with non-toxic, biodegradable Simple Green.
It's Timothy Green's first day at school.
What's in there? He's about to fall
anything
over.
he might need. There's a box of tissues on the bottom and some Band-Aids. There's a whole first aid kit, actually.
Mom, I can handle it from here.
You don't have to be perfect
Have a great day.
That's too much pressure.
Have the day you have.
to be a perfect parent.
There are 2 people in the world who want you more than anything. They'll make some mistakes, but they will love you more than you can ever imagine.
There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.